Okie dokie, artichokey. Welcome back to another Friday Live, family. What is going on? So, we didn't get so lucky today. We're not in the same place as we were last Friday, but it is all good in the hood, okay? Maybe we'll get it next week or something like that. But it's all good. So, I'm happy to be here with you guys every single Friday at 3 p.m. PST. And yeah, when you're tuning in, let me know a few things, okay? Let me know what your first name is. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And then let me know something really good that's going on in your life right now, okay? And we'll get going, okay? So, I will start it off, okay? So, I don't know if you can see like what the topic is. Like, I don't really know how Instagram does these things when it comes to your lives, but topic today is going to be keeping our promises, okay? So, that is what we're going to be talking a little bit more about today, and I'm going to try and get through this at like a reasonable time, so it's not like more than like half an hour, okay? So, if you don't know, my name is Connor, and I am from Pittsburgh, and something really good that's going on in my life right now is that we just finished our most recent book that we were reading, so feel free to just drop your name, where you're from, and I'll like scroll back and give you a little shout out. But I'll get through my little intro and then we'll get going, okay? So I just finished this book, and that's something that's really good that's going on in my life right now, okay? So this was called The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer. I read the one before that, which was called The Untethered Soul, right here. And then I read this book, The Surrender Experiment. Just finished this today. And then next book we're reading is Living Untethered. So they're kind of like all the same thing, but just like very sort of different, like in a very like small way, you know? But that's something that's really good that's going on in my life right now. And I want to see who we got here, okay? And then we will get going, okay? All right. So let me just put these back on my stack right there. And we'll see who we got, okay? All right, so my name is Connor. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I just finished my book that I was reading. It's something that's really good that's going on in my life, okay? So who else do we have in here? We got Chicago in the house. We've got Vegas in the house. We've got Dallas, Texas. All right. We got Poland in the house. That's fun. I'm Polish. I am Polish. We got Elias. I'm not sure how you say your name, but Montreal. Love that. Nigeria. We've got Leah from Pittsburgh. What's going on, Leah? Hope you're having a great day. We've got Abdul. We got Kylie from Toronto. She got a new job working with kids who have mental health issues. All right, that's really freaking cool. That sounds fun. Congratulations, Kylie. Kylie from Toronto. We got Icha from Indonesia. We got Erica from Massachusetts. Who else we have? We have Chris Aloha from Hawaii. Okay, we got Spain in the house. Positive quote of the day. Be true to yourself. Heck yeah. Darlene from North Carolina. What is going on, Darlene? Jenny from UK. Where in the UK are you from, Jenny? We've got Karina from Minneapolis. I've been there. Karina from Dallas. We got another Dallas in the house. Heidi from New York. What part of New York are you from, Heidi? Karen from SoCal. It's been a blessed full week of worship for me. We love that, Karen. What part of SoCal are you from? You in like LA? You from like Orange County or San Diego? Like what part? Danae, hi from Florida. What is going on, Danae? We got Jessica from South Carolina. We got London. Nicole, Las Vegas, just started my own business. Let's freaking go, Nicole. Poised and proper etiquette consultant. I help people with social grace, modern manners, and dining etiquette protocols. A business booming. That is awesome. That is so freaking cool. All right, Lori from San Antonio. What is going on, Lori? We got a lot of Texas in the house. Hi from Texas, Florida. We got another Florida. Yo, brother. Casey from Alabama. There we go. New York City, more New York. Toronto, Canada. New Jersey, Canada. Austin, Texas. Karina, Dallas just came back from... She's from Dallas, just came back from Denver, Colorado. Okay. How was the Denver, Colorado trip? We got Jafia. What is going on, Jafia from Toronto? Woke up blessed that I've been receiving new opportunities from God. I'm so excited. Let's freaking go. Amen. North Carolina. Angel from West Coast, Oregon. That's awesome. Olivia from Idaho I'm now my cheer team's captain. Let's freaking go, Olivia. That's freaking cool. Cheer team captain. That's a big deal. London from Nashville. Let's go to London. Okay. Toronto, Leandre. That is a freaking cool name. Melbourne, Australia. All right. Am I missing anyone? High Desert. Okay. I think I got everyone. Okay. What is going on, Tim? All right. We're caught up to speed. Okay. All right. So Denver trip was awesome. Karina. All right. Let's go. All right. So yeah, main topic today is talking about keeping our promises. Okay. And so let's get into it. Okay. Minnesota. Yeah, that's probably how you're supposed to pronounce Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. That's how you could probably pronounce Pittsburgh too. But it probably doesn't work out the same, Houston, Texas. All right, let's go. So I'm gonna just talk about my experiences last 2 years. Gonna walk you through. I'm gonna start off with a little story at the beginning, and then I'll kind of get to my main point. But I feel like I gotta lay the groundwork for you guys, so where we're starting off at, and then where we're gonna head throughout the rest of this. Okay, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this. Okay. All right. So if you know me, I'm probably one of the best people at telling a story and getting through it super quick. So don't worry about it. You might be here for an hour as I try and get through the story, but we'll get this going. Okay. So overall, the main points I want to hone in on are basically how keeping our promises and what that does by keeping our promises that we make to ourselves and other people, obviously, but first and foremost, how keeping our promises to ourselves constantly builds our own reputation with ourselves. And it also basically provides us undeniable proof of showing that I love me, okay? Instead of just saying it yeah, I love me, we actually, through actions that we can do, we can reestablish these, this undeniable proof that when I say I love me, I mean it, okay? And we have actions and acts that can back that up, okay? All right, so here's a little story I want to start off with. So if you didn't know me, if I'm just some random stranger on the internet you just found from one of my reels or something like that on social media, let's get to know each other real quick, okay? So I probably haven't really said this ever on social media, but when I was a wee lad, I played sports growing up, okay? I played pretty much most sports that you can think of. Mainly it was soccer, baseball, football, track, basketball, and I watched all these sports. And that was my priority when I was growing up as a kid, okay? So another thing that I used to do a lot of the times when I was growing up was I used to quit a lot of things, okay? I would start a lot of things and I wouldn't finish them. I would quit before I completed them or finished them, okay? And I learned a really valuable lesson from my dad, my parents, but mainly my dad from this story that I just wanted to share super quick, okay? So when I was 12 years old, when I was in 6th grade, I was playing, it was the first year I played football, right? So it was the first year I was ever going out to play football for peewee. And really I wanted to do this because every single Friday you got to wear your football jersey to school. And I never got that chance to do that. I'd wear my soccer jersey, but I didn't think I was cool enough because I thought all the cool kids played football, and I thought all the cool kids that played football got all the girls, and all the girls liked the cool kids who played football that wore their jerseys to school on Friday. So I was all right, come 6th grade, come when I was 12 years old, I was I have to play football. I need to wear my jersey. I need to have a jersey so I could wear it to school on Fridays so that all the girls could like me. You know what I mean? So that was my reason for wanting to play football for the first time. So as fate would have it, I go out first year of football. I'm not any really good. I'm not any really bad. I'm your average middle of the road athletic kid, And so what happens is halfway through the season, I end up getting injured. So I don't know if you can see this on my hand, but I had to get surgery on my hand. It's this scar that runs from my wrist up until my ring finger right here. I don't know if you can really see that, but I had to get surgery because I actually ended up like breaking like pretty much my entire like hand when I was in 6th grade when I played football for the first time. And so that happened like halfway through the season, and my dad, and granted, like I wasn't this like person who played, you know, a lot of snaps. I went in like half the time, right? Like I wasn't a star player or anything like that. So I probably, half the team probably didn't even know my name, right? Like probably the coaches barely even knew me. So my dad was hilarious. So I break my hand and I had to get like surgery on it. And that whole thing happened probably within a few days, like after we had our games on the weekend, and then we had practice like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we had games on like Saturdays. And so I remember my dad, he told me that I had to go to my first practice after I got injured to tell the rest of my team that I was no longer going to be able to play for the rest of the season because I got injured and I got my surgery done. Okay. So my dad like made me go do this. And cause I was just like gonna like, you know, not say anything. Like, I guess like people would know what would happen if like, I was like, I think I just wanted my dad to send him an email, but my dad's like, no, you need to go in person and tell your coaches and your teammates that you're not going to be able to play for the rest of the season. I'm like, Dad, they don't even know who I am. Like, what's the point of this? But my dad like made me go do this. So he like dropped me off at practice one day at this like one park that we played at and did our practices. And I went up to the team before the practice started and I was like, hey guys, I know a lot of you probably don't even know who I am, but I came here to tell you that I hurt myself at our game. I had to get surgery on my hand and I'm not going to be able to play for the rest of the season. Okay. So, the reason why that's important is because fast forward to high school, I ended up playing football for the rest of, like up until through like pretty much almost when I graduated high school. Okay. But fast forward to my senior year of high school, I was like the same thing. Like I wasn't this person who played all the time. I got in like half the time. I played, you know, I didn't really play like a whole lot, like as a junior, right? But going into my senior year, like I probably was going to get a little bit more like playing time. Now that I was a senior and a lot of the seniors had already graduated, right? So it was going into my senior year. And a lot of my friends actually decided to quit playing football and go play like other sports, right? And like up until like, you know, into my senior year, the only sports that I was playing at that time was really track and football, and then just like rec league basketball basically. So come senior year, all my friends decided to just like quit football and go play like do like wrestling or whatever. But whenever all my friends quit football, I was like, this isn't really that fun for me anymore. Like, I don't really enjoy playing football. So what is going on? We got some more Indonesia in the house. So I didn't really enjoy playing football that much when I was a senior, you know, even though I was maybe going to get a little bit more playing time. So what I decided to do, like as a senior, was I decided to just quit football and quit track and just play like rec league basketball and have fun like my senior year and focus on like going to the gym and working out, right? And getting ready for like college. So I actually didn't tell my dad that because like my dad had played football, you know, in high school. He played football in college. My dad's dad, my papa, like coached you know, he was a coach for high school track and he played football. My uncle played football and all that. So I was sort of like afraid to like tell my dad that because I was like, I was going to quit football and stuff. Because I think he like really enjoyed like watching me play. But the lesson I learned from like when he made me go and tell my teammates when I was like a little kid, was that, you know, I made this choice that I was going to quit. And so I went in like senior year, I went into this like coach's office to tell them that I was going to quit for that year because like I remember my dad like made me go do that. So I'm like, all right, like this is what I'm deciding to do. I'm going to like not finish what I started. Granted, like in my dad's eyes, it was probably like, you started to play football, like you're going to play it through the rest of your high school. And if you're not good enough to play it in college, then so be it, right? But you're going to play through senior year. And so, you know, come senior year, I decided to quit. And I went into the coach's office and told them that I was quitting that year. And they were just, you know, I remember them just telling me that, you know, they basically said, Connor, this is going to be the biggest regret of your life. You know, like, you know, I want you to like really, really think about this. And then like come back to us whenever you like think you have like a final decision. So I'm like, all right. And so I remember going home and like walking out of like the room and stuff like that. And I told my mom that I was going to do this, but I didn't tell my dad. And then the coaches like called my parents to like ask about like why I was quitting and stuff like that. And that's how my dad ultimately found out. And so I remember my dad called me after he found out about this. And he basically just told me like he just like reiterated this really like powerful life lesson that I didn't know like how important that was at the time, but has really stuck with me like ever since at that time, right? In the years like in between there. Okay, so I remember my dad, he might have like picked me up from somewhere or something like that. Like my parents were separated when I was growing up, so like my dad would always like pick me up, drop me off, and my sister like from my mom's house. So I just remember the first time like I was talking with my dad about it, and he just told me that he was like wondering like why I decided I didn't want to play for the rest of the year, right? And he was just saying like, when he was growing up, like my papa, like his dad was super adamant with him about finishing what you started, and being like dependable, being available to your teammates for the season, to your coaches for the season when they need you. And I just remember him telling me about some of these lessons and stuff like that, about just like being dependable, being able to rely on other people to be able to like rely on you. And it just wasn't like this like serious thing for me back then. I didn't really realize like the effect of it, but he just instilled this mindset, this lesson of finishing what you start, right? Like you don't quit things halfway through. You don't just give up on things because it's too hard or it's too difficult, because it's not just about you. Like, it's not just about like your actions. It's not just the world that you live in, right? It's like people depend on you to be there for them. People, rely on you for different reasons. And you need to take that into consideration before you just make, quote unquote, like selfish decision for yourself, right? So I just remember him like, instilling that lesson in me, and like my mom did too, but it was just, I remember like this like conversation with my dad when I was growing up. And so, what I came to realize was like, once I did that, it kind of started this domino effect of me starting things and stopping them halfway. Like I used to so I decided to like quit football when I was a senior in high school. And then, come when I got into college, like I wasn't good enough. Obviously I didn't play my senior year. So it's like, I wasn't going to play in college. And so I got into college and I decided that I wanted to compete in my first men's physique competition. So I ended up doing that competition, but something that I actually gave up on and quit on the first time I did that was I wanted to document, this was when YouTube fitness influencers were big and were like documenting things like they still are and stuff. And I wanted to document like my prep, like my 15-week prep on YouTube, the whole, like each week I was going to release a video. And so I did it, for 15 weeks out. I did it for 14 weeks out. I did it for 13 weeks out. But then I just gave up on documenting the rest of the, my prep. I still did my competition and I still, won my competition, but I didn't like follow through on that commitment of like documenting the entirety of my prep. So that was just another thing that like I like kind of gave up on, and so even like fast forward to today when I started my coaching business, there's so many like mindset unlocks that I've learned, but something that it's almost like the things that are uncomfortable that I don't want to face, then I'll kind of just push them to like another day, and I don't want to deal with them today, right? So for example, I'll take sales calls on a daily basis, like a handful of them. And when I was first starting out, I can't even explain to you like how bad I was at talking on the phone to people. Like I was so bad. And that's a pretty important thing that you should probably be good at if you're going to start your own fitness coaching business, and you're going to be doing it online, and you're going to be doing it to complete strangers, and you have to sell on the phone, right? So I was so bad at this. And so I was realizing like I sucked at this so hard that I would just push sales calls. Like I would reschedule sales calls all the time because I was like, super nervous. I was super judgmental about myself because I like sucked at them, and I didn't want like the other person like judging me because I sucked at them. When like they really scheduled the call with me because they wanted my help, right? So this was like a year ago, and I was just so bad. So I just like would constantly like reschedule sales calls, and I wouldn't like keep like it was super rude of me to do that. To just these people that want my help, like, are you kidding me? Like, why would I do that, right? Just because I was insecure about like how I was like handling them, right? Like I couldn't understand that like I had to take all these calls to take all these calls to figure out like that's how I learned, right? Like my first 100 calls were how I learned how to be able to talk to strangers, how to be able to sell on the phone, how to not reschedule these sales calls because they made me feel uncomfortable when I'm doing a disservice to people that want to work with me, right? So it was a very selfish move like a year ago. So it was like this pattern like of actions that I wasn't like keeping these commitments, keeping these promises to myself that I made from the get-go, right? So, you know, over the past 2 years, you know, that was like included in this timeline, if you will, but over these past 2 years, I have kept, you know, a handful of promises to myself every single day without compromise, okay? And some of those things are, you know, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I do when it comes to like my fitness and overall health that I've done for the past 2 years I haven't missed. And literally like I haven't missed in 2 full years. I haven't missed my workouts. I haven't missed my reading, like all my books right here, like every single day. I haven't missed my water, drinking my water every single day. I haven't missed my stretching and foam rolling, my journaling, my meditating. I haven't missed any of that. So like some of these lessons that I learned when I was growing up to like when I was like, oh, you know, the world revolves around me. There's not consequences to your actions. There's not repercussions. Like you can just do whatever you want, Connor. That, you know, the lesson being that, you know, maybe I was breaking this dependability on other people that they needed to rely on me upon. When it comes to like my teammates when I was growing up, when it comes to my potential new clients that want to work with me, you know, I was breaking like those, like that trust and those manners and those, you know, dependability that they like relied on me so that I could like help them, right? To realizing like it all started with like keeping the promises to myself first so that I could keep the promises to other people then, you know, as a result of that, if you will. So, you know, every time you just keep these promises to yourself, like in my experience over the past 2 years, it just like you just build on your own reputation with yourself, right? You're not just saying like, oh, I'm gonna do this, you know, you're not telling other people that you're gonna do this. You know, it's not just all talk, right? It's not all these words that like are coming out of your mouth that don't mean anything, right? You know, because they have, you know, effects to what you say, okay? And so like if you say something and you don't follow through with it, you know, maybe you know someone that's like told you something, right? That they're like, hey, I'm gonna go do this, and you never see them do it, right? Or you know, they tell you like, I want to do this one day, and they like just never get around to it, right? And so I think it's even more important when you tell yourself things, like you're like, man, I really want to go like run a marathon or something like that. Like I really want to do my like first competition or something like that for like a physique competition or powerlifting meet or something like that, right? Or maybe it's just something as simple as just drinking a gallon of water every single day, right? And if you don't follow through with that, you know, you kind of just like lose yourself in the mix of all that, right? Like you can't like, every time you don't follow through with that commitment, every time you break that promise to yourself, your reputation with yourself goes like a little bit further down, a little bit further down, a little bit further down. And it's like, to me, like my reputation myself is like everything, right? Like who cares about my reputation like amongst my peers? Like what I care about is my reputation that I have with myself, right? And I think that starts with saying things like, maybe it's a little bit more abstract, saying like, oh, I love myself, like I'm worthy of love, like you know, I'm like abundant, you know, I have, you know, things that like flow easily into my life, like love, health, wealth, happiness and things like that. But if we don't like back that up with tangible asset, like tangible, not a tangible asset, the accountant comes out of me, but like tangible acts that we can like repeatedly do and see, like, oh yeah, yesterday I drank my water. Yesterday I did my marathon training. Like yesterday I did my workouts. Yesterday I did my journaling. Yesterday I did my reading. Yesterday I listened to my podcast. Yesterday I did my stretching and foam rolling. Yesterday I did my meditating. And we did all of those things. Then it's almost like, how can you look back on like yesterday? How can you look back on your day today and say, I didn't give it all I got, like, and say, I didn't love myself today, right? Like, this is undeniable proof that I showed up for myself today. This is undeniable proof that I'm constantly building my reputation with myself to become someone that I want to become, like, in the future, you know? So, you know, that's just what I wanted to come on here and say real quick. Hopefully, like, this helped you a little bit. Like, this is just something that's just been on my mind lately, and just gives me a little bit more, like, motivation to just show up for myself when I wake up in the morning each day, gets my butt out of bed. And one last thing I wanted to say was, we have this, you know, if you have any kind of goal in your future, if you have any kind of like vision for how you want your life to look, you know, whether it be like 1, 5, 10 years out from now, like how you want, like really taking, like, because if you're like me, like, I didn't even think about this 2 years ago when I was, you know, growing up. Like, I didn't know. I was like, all right, yeah, it'd be cool to have a family. It'd be cool to be married. It'd be cool to have like my career just killing it. But I didn't really think about it. I thought it was just going to happen, you know? And, you know, what I've started doing, especially with my journaling, is really journaling. Like, this is exactly how I want my life to be, right? Like, I want, you know, this is how I want my life to be, and these are the yearly, monthly, weekly, daily things that I'm going to be doing, so that I'm going to make sure that this is like an undeniable things that come into my life, right? And they're going to be, they stem back from the fact that I was able to reverse engineer what it took on even down to the daily basis of the daily actions that I needed to do to prove to myself that I'm worthy of this future, right? So like in my eyes, like, all these things that I want in my life, to have a loving family, to have a wife, to have kids, to have dogs, to have a home, like all these things, to have my career, like how I want it to be in the future, like these already exist in my future. Like, it's undeniable. It's just a matter of time before I realize them, because I do the daily things, and I've been doing the daily things every single day for like the past 1,000 days, right? And no one can ever take that away from you. So that's just how I wanted to finish this off. Nothing too crazy, nothing too long or anything like that. But hopefully this served you. Hopefully this helped you. I love you guys always, and I'll see you guys next week, okay? Peace.